Hey cake lovers! So today is story time. It's the story of my first ever paid cake order. So I'm going to talk about what the order was, how I made it, how it came out, how much the customer paid for it, and also lessons learned. So let's get started. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Denise. I'm a cake baker and decorator, and on this channel I'll be talking about the good and the bad of the cake industry, as well as hints, tips and tricks. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So my first cake order was it was over 10 years ago. So my first paid cake order was over 10 years ago. Up to that point, what I had been doing is just doing lots of baking for friends, family, and then after I baked a lot of the cakes, I would give them away or I take them into my day job. And at that time, I was working in Southgate, MHO, if you know, you know. So I would bake all these cakes and bring them in, and everybody said, "Oh, Denise, you should set up a business, you should do this properly." And I was like, at that time, I was still sort of umming and ahhing about it. I wasn't sure. And then one of my work colleagues, hey Dawn, I hope you get to see this video. She said, "Oh, I'd like you to make a cake for my daughter's birthday." And I was like, "Oh, wow." And she said, "I'll pay you for it." And I was like, oh, my first paid cake order. I was a bit nervous about it, but she said, "Don't worry." She said, "I know you're only starting out, so I'm not really going to expect massive perfection, but I'd like you to make the cake." And I was like, okay. I said, "So, have you got any ideas in mind?" And she said her daughter really liked Converse trainers. So what she wanted was a cake with some kind of drawing of a Converse trainer, and she wanted matching cupcakes which had, there's the star logo on it to match it, and the colors were, she liked green, so the colors needed to be green, sort of the base of the cake and the cupcakes needed to be green. So I was really happy about it, but I was also really nervous because I thought, oh my god, this is my first paid order, how's it going to turn out? Up until then, I'd hardly done any actual decorating. It was more the baking side. So I was looking forward to it, but I was really nervous about it as well. But I accepted it. I said, yeah, let's do this. If I'm gonna get into this cake decorating industry, I need to start somewhere. So I took on the order. So the cake itself was a 2-layer cake, and as I said, with matching cupcakes. It was like a vanilla sponge, which was fine. So I made the cake, I covered it with the green coloured icing. She wanted the message to her daughter on it, "Happy birthday, Kelsey," and the drawing of the Converse. Even now, I'm not much of a drawer, so I thought, let me give it a go. All this was done in buttercream, by the way. So I drew the trainer onto the cake, and I thought, okay. I've got pictures coming up, so you'll see how it is, so you can laugh along with me. The cupcakes, I think, turned out better. So the cupcakes had the Converse star on it, so I drew that in buttercream, red buttercream. Yeah, so here are the pictures. As you can see, back then I didn't know how to set up a picture properly in terms of making sure the space was clear. These pictures actually went up on my Facebook like that with all that mess. And I don't know why, but I seem to be upset. Back at that time, I was obsessed with newspaper. I mean, the newspaper was obviously there to cover the surfaces, but it just looked such a mess. And can you believe that I uploaded those pictures to my Facebook page like that? And people are going to want to come and take orders. I've learned a lot since then. And I thought, it's okay. So I took them in, and she seemed happy with it. She said, "Oh, they're lovely. I can't wait for her to see it, her daughter," because her daughter didn't know that she was going to get these cakes. So the next day, Dawn came in and she showed me a video, because what she'd done, she set up all the cakes and then she told her daughter to come in, and it was a surprise, and her daughter seemed really happy. So that was the main thing, and I was really relieved, because I thought, oh my gosh, if she was going to hate it, you know, I would be so gutted I'd probably never bake again. So I'm glad that she liked them, and they turned out well enough for my skill set back then. But the main thing was the customer was happy. So lessons learned. I think the lesson that I learned was, when you're starting anything new, you just gotta go for it. You gotta start at some point, and you have to realize that you're not gonna be brilliant when you start it. There's very few people when they start something that they're absolutely brilliant at. It's all a case of developing yourself, developing your skills. If it's something that you really want to do, this is what you need to do. So continually, you know, I'm looking at what's going on in the cake industry. I subscribe to a magazine, I think it's Cake Decorating magazine, that I get every month, and it keeps me on top of what's going on in terms of trends, etc. Some of those types of cakes I may not necessarily make, but you still need to know what's going on in the industry anyway. So it's all about developing yourself, learning yourself, improving, practicing, because the more that you do, the better that you will get. And that's it. That's my story time. I'd love to hear from other cake decorators about their first paid order. Let me know in the comments. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my story time. Don't forget, I have some free recipes that you can download from my website. The link's in the description. So go to the website, have a look, download them, have a try, and let me know how you get on. Until next time, cake lovers.